Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make your own designer series paper. I've done something similar to this before on my channel and I made bookmarks out of it. But this time I'm going to make the designer series paper, then I'm going to chop it up and I'm going to make some cards with it. So the stamp set I'm using again is Floral. This is new to my online Stampin' Up shop from the 4th of June. I'm going to be using the big flower, the solid flower, the leaves, and the flower centres. And then in addition to that, I'm going to be using the speckle from Beauty Abounds. If you've not got this set but you bought the recent paper pumpkin, Hugs from Shelley, there's a speckle background in there that would do as well. The colours that I'm going to be using are Early Espresso, Crumb Cake, Granny Apple Green, So Saffron, and then for a pop of colour, Lovely Lipstick. So to save some time, I've mounted up my stamps on various blocks and I've got my ink to hand. So the first thing I'm going to do is ink up the big outline flower in Early Espresso, and I'm going to stamp randomly across this piece of Whisper White regular cardstock. So for that one, I think I'll leave it like that for now. I'm going to come in with the flower centres and my crumb cake, and I'm just going to dot the flower centres now. Just going to go over this one again because I've missed a bit. I've got my Stampin' scrub on the side. Just clean the stamps as I go. I may need to put some more of the big flowers in, but we'll see how we go. I'm going to bring in the solid flower now and the Lovely Lipstick. I've just dropped my stamp on here, but I'm going to keep going because I may be able to chop around that when I come to chop it all up. You know, these things happen, don't they? I think it's because photopolymer seems to cling to your paper. So make sure you hold onto it firmly when you lift off your paper. That's a lesson learned. Okay, so I think that might do for now for there. I'm just going to clean that off and take that off for now, and I've got the speckle mounted on the other side. So now I've got So Saffron, and I'm going to fill some spaces in. And I'm going to do first and second generation Stampin'. And then I'm just going to put that on one side for now, and I'm going to put some leaves on, and then I might go back in with the speckles in a few minutes to see where I can fill in. This is Granny Apple Green. It's quite a vibrant green. Put one down here. I'll have another here going off the edge. You can just play about with this and just have fun, you know, there's no right or wrong way, to be fair, to do this. I think I'll leave that one for now. I'm going to come back in with my So Saffron and my speckles. So let's have a look at this. This is how it's looking so far. I'm going to bring in the centre for these flowers, and I'm going to use lovely lipstick, but I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to ink it up, stamp off, and then stamp the flowers so I get a lighter centre. Blocks, and I'm going to bring in another leaf because I think it needs something else. And I'm going to bring in soft sea foam and see how this looks. And I'm just going to again randomly stamp. So that's how it's looking now. I'm going to bring in my big flower again. In fact, there's a smaller solid flower. Let's use that. So this is like this, only smaller. Let's see what we can do here. So if we stamp off and then stamp. And just fill in some of the spaces with a slightly lighter colour. And I think we might be nearly there. Okay, so before I get myself in an even bigger mess, I'm just going to clean off the stamps, put the lids on the inks, and then I'll be back in a minute to show you how we're looking. Okay, so I decided it needed a little bit more, so I'm going to use the speckle again from Beauty Abounds. I'm using Crumb Cake, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to stamp off and then stamp, just so I've got a lighter coverage. And I'm just going to do this randomly and fill in the spaces. Okay, so that is how my designer series paper is looking. So now I'm going to chop it up and I'm going to make some cards with it. Okay, so just to finish this off, I'm going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella. I went back over the little flowers and added the darker centres in. So I'm just going to paint some Wink of Stella on here randomly. And this will just add a little bit of extra sparkle. on the lovely lipstick flowers, but it does give a lovely frosty shimmery finish. Okay, so that's how it's looking now. So the next thing I'm going to do is start to chop it up, and I'm going to make some cards with it. So I'm going to cut some early espresso, and I'm going to cut this from a piece of UK A4. I'm cutting it at 4.5. And then I'm going to cut it at 3. I don't know if I've told you, I'm going to be using our note cards and envelopes. So these are made from thick Whisper White. So I'm going to put a matting layer on, like so, and then I'm going to chop this up and mat this on it as well. So with my Made Designer Series paper, I'm going to cut this at 4. And then I'm going to cut it at 2.5 inch strips. So I've now got 4 layers from half a piece of card. I've still got this piece left that I can use, and another half that I can cut my 2.5 inch strips from. And then these are going to mount up onto my card like that, and then I'll add a greeting. So I'm going to use wet glue and just apply some glue to the back of this. You don't need a lot. That's how that's looking. Bring a bone folder in. So that's the basic card. So from one piece of homemade Designer Series paper, I'm going to be able to make 4 plus another 4 from this half, and I'll have 2 pieces like this left over. So I'm going to get at least 8 cards from one sheet of homemade DSP.